Yep. Yep. So, if you fulfill the law, so don't be judging that way. And then here's that you should love your neighbor as yourself. He said if you do that, you do well. Well, in order to love your neighbor as yourself, you have to know who your neighbor is, number one. And then it's a mindset because you have to think about the welfare of the neighbor in the same way that you think about your own welfare. So that means you got to be thinking about your neighbor.
You got to put your neighbor above yourself.
Well, at least equal to.
Yeah.
So whatever you would do for yourself, you need to be willing to do for your neighbor.
Remember what Yeshua said that the two greatest commandments were?
Yep. Love Yahweh with all your heart, mind, and everything that's in it, and your neighbor as yourself.
Love your neighbor just like you love yourself. Well, if you love your neighbor like you love yourself, you're not going to drag him into the courtroom just so he can get something from him, and you're not going to take advantage of it. You can at least say to the poor guy, "Look, come on in. We got stuff to eat. Hey, maybe we got some good clothes for you. Need a shower? Sure, we got that."
But if you have respect to persons, you commit sin. Well, I think because if you have respect to persons, you haven't done loving your neighbor as yourself because you don't take yourself and judge yourself in that way. Whenever you tend to judge yourself, it's typically to your favor, not to the way that this example that's given us. So,
isn't it interesting on that point that we're always in seeming like a self-defense mode.
mm-hmm.
We're always trying to vindicate ourselves. It doesn't matter what's said to us or about us or who we engage in conversation.
Right.
It seems as though we're always on some kind of a knife edge to vindicate ourselves somehow because we're in self-defense mode all the time.
Yeah, we have this invisible status in our mind that we want to maintain, this quality, this perspective of ourselves, that we want to maintain that. And when someone challenges it in some way or another, we're quick to defend it.
Sometimes the other person who believes that they've been challenged reacts in such a violent way with their words or with their actions or both, that it leaves the other person who was just talking to them stumped, just kind of dumbfounded. What did I say?
Mm-hmm.
What did I do?
So he says that if you do that, then you're guilty of the whole law.
Of Torah. You're guilty of the Torah.
But all of it. Is it basically
the whole of it?
Yeah, the whole of it. Right. And then he gives you an example of the do not commit adultery, do not kill, and that sort of thing. But I like verse 13 says, "For you shall have judgment without mercy that have showed no mercy, but mercy rejoices against judgment." It's a joy against judgment. Well, of course, because if you're guilty and someone shows you mercy, what an awesome thing! What a gift! What a wonderful thing to have.
If you've got the eyes to see it.
If you receive it, to receive it. But if you receive mercy, you should be more than willing to turn around and have mercy. You get the gift, you should give the gift.
And mercy
Not
rejoices against judgment or condemnation.
Exactly. Right.
And so the mercy of Yahweh is rejoicing against the very condemnation that he would have handed down to us and we would have deserved.
And when you turn, see if Yah's the center of your life, then you have the correct, I guess, perception of who you really are and your status in his eyes. And so you're humble because you know you've got this relationship with the Most High Creator of the universe. You don't get above your raisins, so to speak. You don't get out of order.
You know Daddy's going to chasten you because he loves you. And we've all felt that.
Oh, yeah.
To some degree.
So now we're going to change things. If you have any questions or comments now, it'd be a good time over what we just read. any of y'all can relate to it some way or another, or want to.
I'd say it's easier to talk about it in this manner than to live it out,
Yes.
by far.
Yes. When you live it out, it's like all by yourself.
Seems like it a lot of times.
With a lot of fingers pointing at you.
Mhm. So now we're going to talk about faith with works or without works. Starting in verse 14, would you read, Brother Paul? And then see, we're going to be reading all the way through. Yep, we're going to go all the way through the rest of the chapter on that one.
What does it profit? What advantage does it give, my brethren, though a man says that he has faith and he has not works? Can faith save him? If a brother or sister are naked and destitute of daily food, and one of you says to them, leave in peace, in shalom, and be warmed and filled, and yet you don't give them those things that are needful to the body, then what benefit is it to them? Even so, faith, if it does not have works, is dead, being alone. Yeah, a man might be able to say, you have faith and I have works. Show me your faith without your works, and I'll show you my faith by means of my works. You believe that there is one Yahweh, one Elohim, one sovereign. You do well. The devils, the demons that also believe, and they tremble. But will you know, O vain man, that faith without works is dead? Was not Abraham our forefather justified by works when he had offered up Isaac, his son, upon the altar? Do you see now how faith worked together with his works? And by works, faith was made complete. And the scripture was fulfilled, which said, Abraham believed Yahweh, and it was counted on his behalf for righteousness. And he was called the friend of Yahweh. You see then how it is that by works a man is justified, and not by faith alone. Likewise, was not Rahab the harlot also justified by works, when she had received the messengers and had sent them out another way? For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also.
If you understand faith, my personal interpretation, my opinion, if you will, is that if you understand faith, it's impossible to have faith without works. Because works are a result of whatever faith you have, whatever is in your, whatever faith you're believing, whatever you're believing, and that's what you're doing. Nobody goes around doing stuff they don't believe in. Not really. Something inside of them is believing that way, or they wouldn't be doing it. So to say you believe in the Elohim, well, who can really do that? Who can know what's in your heart if you just simply mouth the words, I believe exists, and I believe that this and that and the other? But when your lifestyle exhibits the influence of such a being as the Master Yah, then those works of your life, they testify of your faith. Then someone can truly believe, yeah, you believe that. Because I see it in your life. I see that not only what you say, but what you do or don't do. Because Yah says for us to not do things. And so when we don't do these certain things, we don't do them because we believe in our Elohim. We believe he's a rewarder of those who are his, whether the reward is good or bad, disciplinary or whatever.
Probably one of the easiest examples of works combined with faith is something we do every day. We say that we eat clean, and we don't eat pork. We don't eat shellfish. We don't eat catfish. We don't eat things that are not specifically for Yahweh's chosen people to eat. We take that for granted. We do it without even thinking.
Mhm.
But that's faith and works working together, hand in hand, and it's a mundane.
Yeah, I never thought
Everyday
of that
thing.
either.
Keep the Sabbath. We know we observe the Sabbath. We do that because we love him, and we do that because we have faith.
Something in us says, I have to do this. It's a compelling.
Well, it's the spirit of Yah, because Yah tells us we have to do this. We go back to the original where he gave the commands. He says, this is what my people do. If you don't do this, you're not my people. I got a covenant with my people. And if you are my people and you ain't doing this, I'm gonna spank your butt, or I'll just take you out.
Right.
Take you off the earth.
Yeah.
Game over for you.
I guess whenever I learned the names, I was to the point that I was ready to accept it. And I didn't have any problems changing it from Jesus of God to Yeshua. And I didn't have a problem with the food laws. I mean, it was like, I knew that's what I needed to do. It was right there, and I just knew it with my whole being. Because I was ready.
That's how I am about the pork. You know, I quit it the same day, like it was nothing. Like I just knew it was right. You know, same thing.
Hallelujah.
You know, my friend speaks Hebrew, and like I knew it. Like I just knew it. That was.
Where we have the more difficult degree, where it's more difficult for us when it comes to things of morality. We push that line, we push that line, we push that line within ourselves. We fight the battles all the time, every day. We're constantly asking for forgiveness. And in a way, that's faith combining with the works. The battle itself is works.
Right.
But there until something breaks, there's no getting past certain points where your own temptations, your own desires that you have within yourself, whatever they may be, cause you to behave in a way that's not as Yahweh's chosen people are supposed to behave. And it's a moral thing. And it's something I've struggled with all my life. And I still do, but there's been breakings in my life, and I'm grateful for them. And all I can say is Yahweh's mercy is it's indescribable to me. It's more than I can give words to, but I'm grateful for it. But it's a thing that we're doing every day, and sometimes we give up and we lose, and we fall and we fail. We look for forgiveness. We can't show our faces to our brethren, and it's a humbling experience. But there's a certain unspeakable joy when there is a breaking and that thing no longer has